Here's the 5 biggest changes coming to New World in the Brimstone Sands patch. And I'm not just going to make it the obvious, so we'll get the obvious out of the way first. Before we do that, I just want to give another big shout out to my YouTube members. Thank you very much to you guys. And if you want to support the channel, that is the best way to do so. So the first thing we're going to do is lump in all of the new content. So obviously with the Brimstone Sands update, we're getting a couple of new things. A new zone, a new weapon, a new expedition, new abilities, and new gems. And they all look very interesting. The new zone is a desert zone, which is looking absolutely insanely beautiful. The detail is very nice. There's new NPCs, there's interesting quests, there's story, there's all kind of stuff in the new zone. Honestly, it looks really slick and nice. There's a new expedition, the Iliad, very similar story to Brimstone in itself. It looks great, the NPCs are cool. Yeah, good stuff. These sort of never really disappoint, and this just expands the endgame. The new weapon is obviously the Great Sword. This is scaling with dex and strength equally, and it's really fun to use. It's a big boy sword, and the colours can look a little bit strange, but in gameplay terms, it feels really satisfying. There's a new ability, which a lot of us are just calling the ultimate ability, but it's not called that in game, and it's not as powerful as that, but it's the Heart Rune Gem ability. And effectively, there's 5 different abilities that you can pick from. You get these from the expeditions in game as a drop, and then you can upgrade them. You slot them into the G slot, which is an absolute classic. You power them up, and then you just use them like a normal ability. Really fun stuff, and a great addition to the game. There's also a new type of gem. I think these are called Heart Glass Runes. Essentially, it takes the existing kinds of gems that we have that you slot into your gear, and it adds like little tweaks to them. These are crafted at the stone cutting table, and I think these could really mix up the meta in ways that, you know, I'm not smart enough to understand. But even though there was 5 things there, that was only point 1. There's still 4 more to go. But really, those 5 things are like probably the biggest immediate impacts that people will see in game when they log on and try Brimstone Sands. The next thing we're going to talk about though is the crafting changes. Now, a lot of these I've actually made like specific videos for. But if you want to go on my channel and check out videos, you'll see like I've made a video specifically about crafting changes. But what I'll do is I'll just do a very quick rundown here as well. There is now a first time crafting bonus. I thought that was a daily bonus. That is not true. It is literally you craft it once, you get double XP. So when you're crafting and you're leveling, just craft one of everything at least and you'll get that double XP. I'm not sure if it works in bulk. You'll need to test that. The next thing is that the bags and tools can now become legendary when you craft them, and then they grant an extra perk, but it's a specific type of perk. So for bags, it'll be a perk that basically makes your consumables last a little bit longer, and for legendary tools, it will be a perk that grants you a specific type of molt when you gather, or a chance to get that molt at least. There's also the new Golden Scarab, which is basically a more powerful Timeless Shard. However, you actually need to combine the Golden Scarab with the Timeless Shard, and a few of them, as well as more materials to craft it. But when you do craft it, you get to pick 2 perks instead of the standard 1 with the Timeless Shard and 0 without any of them. Essentially, this is reducing the randomness of crafting at the expense of, well, more materials. So pretty decent. The next thing I want to talk about is Umbral Shards. So what is happening is that the curve at which you upgrade your items from 600 to 625 is changing. It's basically harder and slower to go from 600 to 620 on the PTR, on the new patch, but it will be much quicker to go from 620 to 625. It will require less shards. The total shards to go from 600 to 625 remains relatively unchanged. Now with that change, they're also changing the amount of Umbral Shards that the expedition mutations give you. The top end is staying the same, but all the levels from M1 to M9 are basically getting an increase in the amount of shards that they give, trying to get people to do those lower level mutations, and hopefully that will work. The next thing is a relatively low key but very important thing, and that is gear score scaling is coming to Outpost Rush and Arena, PvP Arena. Now all that is going to happen is for anybody who enters an Outpost Rush or PvP Arena that is less than gear score 600, you're going to get scaled up to gear score 600. There will still be advantages to grinding your gear out because you'll want to get to 625, you'll want to have all the perks and stuff, but that's actually just a really nice thing. That means that a newbie who walks into an Outpost Rush isn't going to get absolutely curb stomped, and I think it's actually quite big for the game in the long run. The next thing we want to talk about is Fresh and the leveling progression. So this is a 2-parter, and the first bit is that we are going to get fresh servers. Now details on that are actually quite scarce at the moment, but we are pretty much like 99.9999% sure that they are coming. They are definitely happening. We just don't know when. It's speculated that it will be with the Brimstone Sands update, maybe a week before, We just actually don't know. My guess is that we'll hear news about that in the coming weeks. But fresh is going to be good for all the people who maybe haven't played the game before or played it and got to very low levels, who just want to experience the launch of a MMO feeling again. Now with Fresh and with the Brimstone Sands update, a couple of other things are happening. Number one, leveling overall is being made way easier. So on the PTR, for example, it takes about half the amount of XP to get to level 60 than it does on the current live server. So you can think of it being at least twice as fast. And along with this, obviously I could have put this in the actual content part of this, the leveling experience from 1 to 25 has been completely reworked. And I have to say, it feels much more like a standard MMO now when you play it, and it just feels a lot better. So for me, that's the 5 biggest things coming with the Brimstone Sands update. Do let me know in the comments below if you think I missed anything, and we'll pin a comment and we'll talk about it. Again, big shout out to my YouTube members. I do really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. And if you want to support the channel, that's the best way. Other than that, you should definitely have a most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.